Hey, another day, another dollar. It's Kimosabe here, trying to update the chart on the nothing burger that we've had today, and just drawing attention to wicks. I'm just looking at wicks here, thinking about this one, 50% of that wick, similar how I did on the monthly, weekly, but look at the current wick on the daily. So, since price did not recover very much on the daily, that shows weakness, supply coming in, not much demand, at least not market buys. It's more of a passive bid under price where bids are getting filled, but the larger players are not chasing just yet. But what we can do from this price action, show you a little ideas that I'm having. So the daily candle that I was talking about yesterday was respected so far, and these previous supports turned into resistance right there. And you had a nice sharp sell-off on a daily candle. It wasn't anything super aggressive, but same principles apply here where you can take this wick, measure it 50%, and then mark it off with a horizontal ray. We mark off the 50% mark right there. So that's halfway up that wick. And the way that I kind of look at these wicks is you have selling, you have strong sellers and weaker sellers, the weaker hands. And I kind of draw the line in the sand right at the 50% mark, whereas the top of the wick is more aggressive sellers, more smart money, you could call it, or just larger whales, larger entities that are selling that price down. And then people catch on and start selling here, but they're a little late to the party. And now currently price is coming back up to test it. So in Inner Circle Trader's method, the ICT method, he teaches that you can trade these as if they are a fair value gap. So you can mark it off on the lower time frame, look at it on the lower time frame after you mark it off on, say, a daily. We could mark off that fair value gap, and then we'll look at it in the lower time frames. So here we are down on the 1 hour chart. That daily wick is marked off by this red box, and that line at 61,565 is the 50% mark of that wick. So anything above that I would consider stronger sellers, and then they started to catch on late to the party to just take this liquidity down below for a nice bounce back. So the stronger sellers are up here. They will defend their position. You could probably do the same thing with this 1 hour wick and get down to the nitty gritty. I'm not really doing that here. I don't trade down that low of a time frame. But if I am expecting my lower target to be met, which is down at 56,400, somewhere around the 7th to the 12th of October, and I'm wondering how price is going to get there, it might come from this trade setup right here. So we'll zoom into current price action, and I will mark off an A, B, C. Seeing that as some kind of ABC, and now price that's coming out of that C leg is mimicking what came before it. You can kind of see it there. It's kind of doing the same leg, the same move. So we can take a trend-based fib extension, measure this leg up, and expect potentially for this to mimic that. Up at the 1-to-1 fib extension would be 61.7, as high as 62.199, get you halfway up that 1 hour wick. So somewhere in that pocket, it might stay below that fair value gap, the 50%, and just find resistance there or around there. So if those legs are to match, I would put this as some kind of A. This is your B leg. Up for a C, somewhere around here. Should be coming up soon with a sell setup. Somewhere in that vicinity. Stop loss would go above this white B leg, that wick. I wouldn't want to see that violated for a sell setup. This looks good for lower lows, lower highs, continuing down. into the buy setup. And I'm proposing that potentially the timing would work really well if this leg up here repeats in a similar fashion down there. And I'll show you what I mean here with some trend-based fib time. I'll measure from the top, which was I think last Friday, down to Monday night's low, and projecting from current area or thereabouts, pretty close to it, if the sell setup comes. And if that leg matches in time and length, you should end up right in this area on October 7th. Not to say that it has to happen, but wouldn't that add some confluence to the thoughts / ideas that I'm having? And then we would take a trend-based fib extension from the high to the low and project from the idea of the sell setup. That gets you down to the vicinity of what I'm looking at. 55.952 to the 1-to-1 fib extension. Maybe this pops up a little higher and gets you 56.200. Yeah, maybe your sell setup is at 62, something like that. And price comes down to target. And then we would just be reversing the leg that started it. Let's draw that out. So if price was to sell down from our current area and we repeat this leg, something like that, maybe that gets you down to there. Then you could go sideways for a bit, chop this, back test that area for another sell, which would be this leg repeating down here to get down to the 56,400 area, something like that I'm looking for. And then maybe all over the weekend, you repeat this sideways pattern until the 7th. And there's your buy setup with the swing failure pattern. And then watch for a higher high, higher low to come out of there, out of your cycle low, and take it up. And hopefully we can get some movement up from there. It's just an idea. It's something that I would like to see confluence and have a very nice buy setup where I can have high confidence that this move down is completing, and you can have a swing failure pattern breakout, back test, and then up you go. Might have a nice tight stop loss, nice risk versus reward on that, because you're going to have liquidities to take up there and up there, and we could track it as it comes along. So not seeing any buy setups just yet, just mainly see the sell setup matching this as an ABC, stop loss above the B wave, trade it down to match that leg, pop back up, there's another sell setup there, and validated once you break beyond that leg. So if the pattern does what I'm expecting, this leg should not extend beyond that leg. And then you can sell it down again into the buy setup. And then consolidate over the weekend. Maybe Sunday is your buy, just like Sunday was your sell up here. Maybe it'll reverse and do the exact opposite. If the stop loss is hit there, maybe look for a push up there and a consolidation. Grab that liquidity. And then see if you close a 4-hour higher high, then you could try to buy the higher low. But right now I'm not interested the way that price keeps pushing down. It looks like sell setups to me until you start closing higher highs and higher lows on at least a 1-hour, but preferably a 4-hour. So looking for my buy setup on the 7th around 56. A lot of confluence down there, like I said yesterday. Sell setups until they're not. Keep your stops tight. Have a good night.